Barring any unforeseen circumstances, Nigerian Tax Act will come into effect on the 1st of January 2026. As expected, it has stirred anxiety. Anytime Nigerians hear the word tax, shoulders tense up. For many, tax is not a civic contribution, it's a punishment. But beyond the anxiety and fear, the data tells a different story. Under the old versus new tax law, if you earn 800,000 naira per annum, in the old tax, your tax rate is 10.75%. The new tax code is 0%. If you earn 3 million naira per annum, the old tax rate is 17.6%. The new tax is 11%. If you earn 12 million naira, your old tax rate is 21.7% and the new tax is 19.5%. If you earn 25 million and above, your old tax rate is 21.6% and the new tax code rate is 20%. The only scenario in the new tax where your tax rate is higher than the old tax code is when you earn above 50 million naira, but only marginally, by about 0.4%. Hardly the fiscal guillotine it has been made out to be. In fact, under the new tax law, billions of low-income Nigerians fall completely outside tax net. This is not punishment, this is relief. The only set of people that will be significantly impacted by this law are high-income earners who were never paying tax in the first place, but are now captured in the tax net. Yet, there's another argument that keeps resurfacing. Those who say we shouldn't even be talking about paying personal income tax at all because government hasn't earned that right. They argue that past tax revenues were poorly accounted for, badly spent, and corruptly siphoned. And on this point, many Nigerians have a case. There is a huge trust deficit between government and the people. It is deep, it is lingering, and understandable. But this moment also presents an opportunity for government to begin to bridge that trust deficit, not with empty speeches, but with accountability and transparency. Show citizens where the money goes, publish outcomes, measure impact, earn credibility, don't demand it. At the same time, citizens must also be educated about tax optimization, understanding reliefs, income planning, using the law to get the best possible outcome legally, because tax literacy is power. When we do this, perhaps the conversation will shift from why should we pay tax to how do we make tax work better for all of us.
I think we've always, we've had a conversation before, but I think one of the biggest problems we have in this country is like we have a problem of misplaced priority. If you want to tax people, for me, there are two sides to this. You're saying that the tax is going to be for the rich people, right? What's the percentage of the rich people in Nigeria? That's the first question. Mm-hmm. Second is the level of informality in the business sector, especially when it comes to trades. If the government really wants to generate revenue, the first thing they should do is to formalize their informalities. The amount of business that don't pay tax, right? The amount of business that don't pay tax in Nigeria is a lot. I don't have the data. I would have given you guys numbers, but you can go check it. It's a lot because of the informalities. I feel like the first step should be if we are able to get loans, because we've been taking loans since I was born. What they use those loans for, I do not know. Is to first of all create a society that works, that elevates the income of the citizens. Right now, we don't even have middle class anymore. If you elevate the income of the citizens, then you are able to now say yes. Tax, they can now pay tax, and then that can now be the revenue generation. But you're not doing anything with even the money that you've collected from World Bank, for IMF, and all of those people to create infrastructure that can actually elevate the lives of people. That's first. Secondly, is the trust deficit that you said. I have not seen. Look at what Yaya Bello was saying on I think one of the social media videos. I know that wasn't AI. I was literally the entire House of Representatives, the State House of Representatives were all kneeling down on the floor. It's like, whatever the governor says, even if you don't understand it, follow it. Given that kind of instruction, somebody that has stolen so much still has the right to be in a position where the lawmakers of that state are all on the floor. Some of them are leaning down. Some of them are looking up to him. He's not the governor anymore. Tell me one person that has been persecuted for corruption. Are we saying that Nigerians our politicians are not corrupt? It doesn't make any sense to me until I see the evidence of the fact that every money I pay would be used to make our life. The reason why Dangote has become an influencer and what do you call it again, an advocate, is because this guy is paying billions in tax and he can't see it. He can't see somebody spending $5 million for secondary school fees. And he's a government official. Yeah. What happens to him? Resigning is not enough. It's not enough.
Exactly.
Resigning is not enough. He should be in jail. But why you want me to pay more money that you can't monitor, that you can't trace? Come on, let's make this make sense.
That's right. I agree with you, Bright. I mean, Nigeria is a nation of entrepreneurs, both in the informal and the formal sectors. And if you particularly look at the informal sector, it's bursting at the seams with micro and macro entrepreneurs. I mean, go to the market, Mushi, Ojaba, all over the places, you see these entrepreneurs. But as Yinka said, what is the level of tax literacy for all of us, even those of us who went to school? Because it's shrouded in a lot of, it's dense to a lot of us. We don't understand it. So first of all, I love what the NOA, that's the National Orientation Agency, is doing presently. I applaud the man at the helm of affairs, but he needs to do a lot regarding tax literacy for us to understand what the government is saying. Having said that, we also need to know that it was Zuma who said this famously here at the table, that the law without enforcement is just a suggestion. You cannot be wanting us to come into the tax net, but we see every day those who beat the system. As Bright said, it's not enough for them to, resign. Where is the deterrence for others? Where is the punishment? Where is the enforcement? And at what point do you begin to say, I think I'm being overtaxed? There are multiple taxes, Yinka. Explain it to us. You're paying this, you're paying that. How many times are we going to pay? There are too many taxes.
Okay, go on. For me, I think we don't have adequate communication by the government on the new tax act.
Yeah.
There is a lot of misinformation. Most of the communication are too elitist and not very inclusive, particularly to the uneducated and the people outside social media. Most of the communication you see, they're not even in traditional media. There are no town halls around it. Yeah. There is nothing in the local languages. And most of the people who will be taxed, who are just getting into the tax bracket, are the people in the informal sector. You and I know we are going to get taxed anyway. Some of us are even happy that we wouldn't be paying as much as we were paying before. But the people who are just being introduced into the tax bracket, they don't know anything about it. They're just going to wake up January ending and just say, oh, money was removed from my account. They will now start going to fight their account officers in the bank. And a lot of them also have very low trust in the financial system. So it's, again, so many issues in the process. Also, an average citizen does not understand how the tax system works and how it benefits them. Tax compliance and tax utilization are two totally different conversations. I believe in absolute tax compliance. Of course, there are workarounds, and then the tax experts can, provide that for you. But I think every citizen should contribute to the growth of whatever community they are in. And the only way you're contributing is through the taxes you pay. So everybody should pay taxes. But utilization, if you're paying taxes, you become more emboldened to ask, what are you using my money for?
You can imagine what is going to happen to employers next year when this is enforced without the education that you're talking about. So it's just something to think about for companies to begin to figure out how they're going to resolve that problem. And it's not fair that it's on the companies to resolve this issue. Then the priorities of the government should be the things that benefit a vast majority of the people. If you're going to be taxing us, then contracts must go through a transparent award process. And prosecution of corruption must be made public. Public and very stiff in terms of the penalty for this thing to really work. However, I think that the government, it feels like the government is always looking for new ways. I know they need money and funding, and it's usually through taxation. It's the correct way if they're delivering. But some of these ways are just like the posts have the tinted glass thing, where everybody had to pay 14.5 if you have tinted glass. And it wasn't like there was any security thing in the end when you look at what was going on. They just collected the money, took your biometrics, and that was it.
From the personal income tax perspective, if you are earning anything less than 50 million naira in a year, you pay less tax. That's the fact. It's not even whatever. If you're a small business, you have protections under that tax. So if you're a small business owner, getting out of it is not the solution. Getting into it protects you. So, but the opaqueness of it is actually what makes it very scary for a lot of people. And I think that we have the opportunity here to educate Nigerians. And the other side of it as well is that government themselves must realize that people don't trust them. And if people don't trust you, they will not pay their taxes. So there has to be a two-way thing to this. The responsibility of government for accountability and transparency, and also the responsibility of the people to pay their tax. Because there's no tax law that tells you pay your tax and I'll build roads for you. It just says pay your tax or you go to jail. Or if you don't pay it, you go to jail. That's it. But I think we can bridge that divide one way or the other. So ignorance is no excuse, especially if you are a part of the discussions at the table. Thank you for joining us today and throughout the year. It wouldn't be a conversation without you. Till we meet again at the table in the weeks and months to come. For now, and on behalf of every host at the table, it's goodbye from all of us. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Love.